like you hear the name snake eater, and the first thing my brain goes to, it doesn't really go to birds. Maybe worms, worm eater. Snake Eater is a book by Kingfisher, and it is, I don't even know if I would call it horror. It's like the mildest of mildest horror. It's about finding your inner strength, escaping toxic relationships, and finding found family in the desert in this vast and mysterious landscape. And it was quite possibly my newest favorite Kingfisher read. It follows the story of this girl, Selena, and her dog, Copper. And they go out to the desert to this town of Quartz Creek, which is a really, really tiny town. And she's going to see her Aunt Amelia. Aunt Amelia has, they've kept in touch over the years sporadically through postcards. And Aunt Amelia had said she hoped that she would come visit. Selena's mom has just passed away. So she had been dealing with that for the past month, and she had been away from her partner, Walter, and she realized how horribly emotionally abusive Walter was and decided that she needs to get away because she had so much stress lifted off her shoulders, even though she was dealing with the death of her mother. But this man that she was with was just kind of horrible and always telling her what to do and how she should behave and this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, you're having an episode again. No, no, no. Selena's being crazy, and just like making her think that she was the problem when he was the problem. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to stay with my aunt and get out of here. And then so she gets to this town and she finds out, oh, hey, her aunt has passed away. The townspeople are like, well, you're basically her next of kin. Her sister, which was Selena's mother, had passed away, so she would be the next of kin. She's like, you can stay in her house for as long as you need. And she's like, oh, I'm only gonna be here for a little bit, this, that, and the other. Like the whole time, she's like, I'm only gonna stay for a little while. She has $27 to her name. She's like, I'm gonna have to find a job here and try to get money to get a train ticket because she's thinking about going back, even though she doesn't really want to. It's still in her mind to like go back to horrible Walter. So anyways, she goes to this house and all the houses, none of them have addresses. So that's kind of strange. And the name of her aunt's house is called like Jack Rabbit Hole House. And so she doesn't really know why it's called that. Jackrabbits don't really live in holes, I guess. I don't know. So that's kind of weird. And she moves into this house next to Grandma Billy, and Grandma Billy's house is like Blue Horn Toad or something along those lines. And Grandma Billy's super friendly. She has chickens, and when she comes and moves in, like Grandma Billy comes over and she's like, hey, oh no, she stopped at Grandma Billy's first and talked to her, and Grandma Billy had some of Selena's aunt's things that she gave her so she can have some stuff like some sheets and blankets and whatnot. And she's like, if you do stay a little longer than a few days, I have some of her other stuff like pots and pans and this, that, and the other. And also, like when she had came to town, she had talked to the woman at the post office who was also like the mayor, the chief of police, the fire station and whatnot, because this is a very tiny town, like very tiny. Apparently they have a hard time keeping people out here because the desert is not for everyone, Lots of strange things in the desert. Ghosts, spirits, animal people, and what have you. Snake eaters, as we'll come to find out. She goes to the house, and she's also told that on Wednesdays and Saturdays there is potluck at the church that is there, run by Father Aguirre, and so she can go there and at least have a couple days of, food, so she won't starve necessarily. And Grandma Billy starts bringing her all these extra eggs because Grandma Billy has chickens, so she's like, well, at least I can eat eggs, I won't starve. And she's been feeding her dog the eggs too. And eventually she starts to stay a little longer, and she starts to make friends with all the people in town, and she starts to come into her own. And then all of a sudden she starts to see weird spirits, and Grandma Billy's like, yeah, this is a thing out here. It's a lot of weird spirits out here in the desert, because she starts to plant a garden. She sees this weird little like green man with green skin in her garden over by the squash plants. Apparently it's like a squash god. And then she runs into Snake Eater, and Snake Eater was an entity that her aunt had known and had loved and had some sort of relationship with. And so Snake Eater starts to notice Selena and is like, well, your aunt died and left me, and apparently it's a roadrunner god. So roadrunners, kind of like a dinosaur chicken, they will attack anything and are kind of unruly and selfish and whatever. So Snake Eater starts leaving presents for Selena. Wouldn't call them presents, they dead rattlesnakes. Selena doesn't really know what to do with them, so she buries them. And then it gets to the point where there's like weird, like creepy entities around her house, and so she has to get the help of Grandma Billy and the priest from in town, and it goes through this whole thing with this entity that has decided that, oh hey, well, your aunt had died, so now you're gonna just replace her and be mine. And she's just like, what? No. What? This isn't how this works. You can't be like, okay, you're mine now. Your aunt died, so you're her kin. That's fine. I will love you now. So it is a crazy story, but it's also really cozy and lovely, and I loved it so much. Like I felt the way I felt when I read Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, like how much I loved Toadling. Toadling was just such a wonderful character, and in this story, the characters in this are also wonderful. Like, I love the way the dog is portrayed with the noise that T. Kingfisher captures, like, the noises the dog makes. You know, like when your dog or your cat makes that, like, that's probably a bad noise to make in a video, but like writes out the noises like, oh, the dog made the chewing sound, or I don't know, but it's super cute. Selena's great as she struggles with her emotional crap going on. Grandma Billy is probably my favorite character. I also loved Father Aguirre. And then the other quirky townsfolk, like, you're like, man, I wish I could find a community like that out in the desert somewhere. I don't know if I personally wouldn't want to live in the desert. I like forest and water and lakes. But, there's certain landscapes that call to people. And for me, water, somewhere by the water with forest. But the desert also has like a quiet, strange beauty. And the writing's lovely and cozy and fantastic. It's not really that scary. So if you don't like super scary books and want something that's like a little bit like, I don't want to call it baby horror. It's not baby horror. It would be cozy, and I don't even think it's horror. I think it's more fantasy. I don't even know if this is categorized as horror. The title kind of like had that horror vibe, Snake Eater, but I think it's way more fantasy, and it was a lovely book. If you like T. Kingfisher, if you like cozy fantasy with a little bit of scariness, not much, found family stories, then I really feel like you'll like this book. But if that doesn't sound interesting, obviously don't get it. We all have different tastes. So it just depends on what sounds good to you. Also, if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.